श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवं यतीन्द्रप्रवणं वन्दे रम्यजामातरं मुनिं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् वेदान्तदेशिककटाक्षविवृद्धबोधं कान्तोपयन्त्रयमिनः करुणैकपात्रं वत्सान्ववायम् अनवद्यगुणैरुपेतं भक्त्या भजामि परवादिभयङ्करार्यम्. Kalpaka, would you be able to chant the last three? 27, 28, 29?
27 lendu, yeah.
27, yes.
लक्ष्मी निवास निरवध्य गुणैक सिंधु संसार सागर समुत्तरणैक सेतु वेदांत वेद्य निज वैभव भक्त भोग्य श्री वेंकटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम् इत्थं वृषाचलपतेरिह सुप्रभातम् ये मानवाः प्रतिदिनं पठितुं प्रवृत्ताः तेषां प्रभातसमये स्मृतिरङ्गभाजां प्रज्ञां परार्थसुलभां परमां प्रसूते
ब्रह्मादयः सुरवराः समहर्षयस्ते सन्तः सनन्दनमुखास्त्वथ योगिवर्याः धामान्तिके तव हि मङ्गलवस्तु हस्ताः श्रीवेङ्कटाचलपते तव सुप्रभातम्. So what we just chanted are the what Kalpaka chanted are the last three verses of Venkateswara Suprabhatam. Then there is Venkateswara Stotram, then the Mangala Shasanam and Prapatti, Venkateswara Prapatti and Mangala Shasanam and so on and so forth. But this is the main, when you say Venkateswara Suprabhatam, these are 29 verses constitute the Suprabhatam in that sense. Because all of these verses are ending with Suprabhatam, Suprabhatam. So he is waking him up. Sorry. So in the last three verses, Prativadi Bhayankaramanna, he is now trying to kind of give the essence or conclude with the essence of the whole Suprabhatam. Okay. So I think most likely possible that we may be able to finish off these three today. We will see. So it says Brahmadaya Suravara Samaharshayaste Sa Maharshi Aste. So which means there are Brahmadi Suravaraha, which means there are Brahma and other deities. Suravaraha means the Vara means the best amongst. Suravara means the best amongst gods. So all gods, Brahma and the other best amongst all the deities and all the celestials, including the Maharshis, along with Maharshi. Saha Maharshi.
Sa Maharshayah te.
Sa Maharshaya te. Sa Maharshaya te. Correct. Sa Maharshaya Maharshayah te. So, with all the Maharishis, they are all assembled. So, these are essentially all the exalted beings that we refer to as learned beings, or the ones who have the highest knowledge. Even Brahma and when the Brahma that is indicated here is not Brahman, it is Brahma, one of the functionaries, who is the creator. Function of creation is done by this aspect called Brahma. So he and the other gods, which means Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and then the Suravaraha, which means Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Soma, Rudra, so many other celestial beings that are there. All of them, along with, so visualize this image where you've got all the devatas, the devas and the devatas, then the celestial beings, which means all your, like yesterday we saw Menaka, Manjula, Menaka, Dhyangana. So she's surrounded by several celestial nymphs or celestial beings. So, like that, here, all of these, those who exist in a higher plane of existence. Okay, this is important for us to understand, because we are not the only beings that exist here, and what we perceive is not the only thing that is available here. Okay. Correct. What we can measure, what we can see, what we can experience is limited to our faculties, and also the instruments that we use to measure. See, we measure, there are things that we can perceive with our faculties, and then we have instruments that can measure more than what our faculties can measure. Correct? There are instruments that can measure more than what we can measure. So for those, also there is a limitation. An electron microscope only can go to so much. Hubble's telescope can only go so much or so far. So even those have constraints and restrictions. So if there is a different dimension or a different loci or a different plane that is existing, it will be difficult for these instruments to measure that. It may measure some activity, some energy activity, some movement or something of that kind. But you'll not be able to exactly.
Reference itself should change. If we were going to look at those lokas, right? We are in Bhuloka, and probably we will not even be able to. The origin of reference itself should probably change.
Origin, correct. And the way you also transact or communicate in that reference plane will also be different. So there is this institute called SEBI, Search for Extraterrestrial Beings or whatever, extraterrestrial intelligence. SETI or SEBI, I don't know, SETI maybe. Sorry, SEBI is Stock Exchange Board, is it? Maybe SETI. Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. There's an organization which is constantly sending out audio signals into the vast universe, hoping to receive something back. And then they're trying to decipher what is that signal that has come back. It could be some kind of electrical signal, impulse, or radio wave, or whatever. And then they try to interpret it. The problem is we use certain sounds or certain range of sounds to express. So what I'm speaking is just words. No, it's just sound. But we have been trained to make sense of the sound as words, and then intellectually or psychologically we know this word means this, and hence we understand it. So communication happens that way, right? If I'm speaking English to an Aborigine, an Australian Aborigine who's there, he will not understand. For him, it's just sound. if you watch this Bahubali movie, there is this Kalakeyan. What is that? There is this army that will come to fight with the, this kingdom,
Kalakeya.
Mahishmati, Kalakeyas. They will speak a certain language, right? They will click, they'll make clicking sounds in their mouth and all that. So for us, it's just sound. We will not be able to understand what they're saying, right? But then it's a language that they use. So like this, what we think as sounds is a language to somebody. But likewise, what we think as language is just sounds. So you're just sending sounds and trying to receive and trying to decipher. Now, will we be able to decipher? Will we be able to find out? We've not been able to. But then there are some indications that there is extraterrestrial activity, there is extraterrestrial intelligence that is available. So what I'm saying is that our faculties, which is the Pancha Jnanendriyas, and the extended faculties, which are all the measuring instruments that are available, all of them have a limitation. So it's difficult for us to recognize these beings, how they're existing here. Brahmadi, Suravaraha, and then the Maharshi. So all of these beings, celestial beings, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all of them, all the celestial beings, and the rishis, a lot of, and the immortal ones. Actually, I was discussing with someone about the immortal ones. Like you say, Hanuman is Chiranjeevi. He's existing here, present. And it said, whenever there is Ramanama Japa, whenever there is Ramayana Parayana happens, he is promised that I will be there. Now it means if there are, it's Ramayana Parayanam happening in 5 different places, how will he be in 5 different places? He will be, because it is not the physical form. He's a disembodied being. He has the ability to exist, coexist because space for them is not the same way that we perceive.
கிருஷ்ணர் எல்லா கோபிகளோடையும் இருந்தாரு.
Krishna, correct. Krishna took really physical form, and then he distributed himself amongst the gopikas. Whether he did it that way or in the gopis' minds, they experienced Krishna individually, whichever way it is, that's the idea. So Hanuman is saying that I will be present means his energy will be felt in those places. We will be able to feel. Somebody I know did this 108 chants of Hanuman Chalisa. And correcta on the time after he did like 30-40 or something, suddenly monkeys came to the corridor. And they gave bananas and all that, and monkeys collected bananas and went off. So we've seen many such videos.
ನಮ್ಮ ಅಯೋಧ್ಯ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ அவரோட ஜட்மெண்ட் வந்து அன்னைக்கு அவத்து மாடியிலெல்லாம் நிறைய குரங்கு வந்துதான். அவர் பேர் என்ன மறந்துவிட்டார், ஸ்ரீ advocate who argued for the temple in Supreme Court. Parashar.
Right. Yes, Mama.
So he said Parashar அவரோட ஆத்து மாடியில அன்னைக்கு it was a blessing directly from Sri
Rama himself. Very true. So these are signals.
Now, making of Ramlala statue also, I think there was an article every day the monkeys. The making of Ramlala statue.
Making of the statue, right.
Right. Every day monkey used to come and then knock the door, and then, I mean,
very nice.
There was an article in that also.
See, likewise, in several places we would have seen some YouTube videos where particular Shiva Kshetra or there's a linga and not too many people go there. Suddenly you will see a naga appearing and then wrapping itself around the linga. It will get attracted. So what we're saying is those energies will come in some physical form and it will be available there. So when you're saying Chiranjeevi, it means that those energies are available for us to access. Chiranjeevi immortal irka appadina, they are close to the earthly plane. They're not out there somewhere. They're close to the earthly plane, that which to our dimension, and we can access them much more easily.
So,
So
Bhairava Kovilla Vasala, there were Vasala, just entrance, there were about 8 dogs. When the
which
person at the
temple?
Bhairava temple in Governor,
Ashta Bhairavargal.
ஒரு 7 நாய் உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கு. என்னடா இது எப்படி உள்ள போறது? நான் அப்புறம் அந்த பர்சன் எக்ஸைட் சைடு இல்ல இதெல்லாம் ஒன்றும் ஹார்ம் பண்ணாது. They always sit around here.
No, this is fascinating. We had an experience when we went to the Kashi Yatra. We did the Kashi Yatra last year, January. Those all came, will remember this. We went to the Kala Bhairava temple there. And it is extremely crowded. Kala Bhairava temple, whenever it is open, you'll see it's a very crowded temple because it's a small space, small place to go in. A lot of people will gang up. A queue kalam and the meaning kadayadanga. So you just kind of you appear as though you're standing in a queue, but you will not know which queue you belong. So you'll just be moving with the crowd. But what was beautiful, what happened is, our group, particularly when we kept going in, there was one dog that kept coming along with us. And that dog it came up till the front, like the sanctum, till the sanctum. It was just moving through our legs. And we were like worried. We are struggling to make our way. And this dog is like trying to maneuver through and passing through our legs and all of that. So then someone said it's Bhairava's blessings, like that. So we don't know how these energies function. These energies can take the form of something like this, or it can possibly act through some of these agencies. They can act through some of these agencies, and then that agency itself may not know that it's acting or doing in a certain way. It wouldn't know, because these energies have that ability, these entities have that ability to act through these agencies. So when we say all these people are there, oh Bhagavan they are waiting for you at your doorstep, they may really be there, right? It is not just poetic or imagination or something that maybe only Prativadi Bhayankara Manna saw, or maybe he's just imagining or saying things. No, it is highly possible, extremely likely, that a lot of these energies exist and they come because they're disembodied. They can either take forms to, if they have to make their presence felt, or they may just be available as just disembodied beings around. So it's for us to recognize that these things exist where we are. And what we do through chanting, through nama, sankirtanam, through dhyana, through japa and all of that, we are constantly invoking and inviting these forces. There's a beautiful statement that I read the other day. It says, why is satsanga important? Is because you anyways will require sangha. Because we are a social being. Human beings are called social animal, right? We are social beings. We need sangha. We need people. If you don't look for satsanga, there is a possibility that you may fall into dursanga. This is the reason why you seek satsanga. If you don't actively, the risk there is you will not know how to deal with the negative influences that may come. And so that is why satsanga is important, because satsanga constantly reminds us of, oh, I need to do the chant, I need to do the japa, I need to do my dhyana, I need to do reading. I'm inspired now from this conversation. Now I feel inspired, I'm going to read. When I read some life story or some experience of somebody, and then I get further inspired. They did this. I try to do that. I try to think. I try to contemplate. So this process keeps going on and on and on and on. So that is why satsanga is extremely important to enable us to invoke and invite these energies that are around us, which are beneficial for us. Because there are other energies also that are available. We should not be mistaken. It's not just these beneficial energies are there. There may be other energies which are a little dark, which are a little unfavorable, which are disturbed, which are wandering. Energies may be there, but we don't have anything to do. We pray there, let them find their peace. But we want to invoke energies that are beneficial for our Adhyatma Marga, our spiritual growth, our further progress. So anything that is available at our disposal for our spiritual progress, we should invoke that shamelessly. Oh, நமக்கு வந்து if we have to get a work done in a bank, போய் எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு செக் கிளியர் பண்ணும், இல்லைன்னா ஐ வாண்ட் டு கெட் அன் இன்டர்நேஷனல் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் டன், எப்படி இம்மீடியட்டாக அனுப்பிச்சு ஆகணும் அப்படின்னா வாட் டு வி டூ? அந்த பேங்க்ல எவனை வேணாலும் பிடிப்போம்ல. If I want to get my work done, be it a clerk or this thing or a peon or somebody at even the security standing outside there, we'll ask, please pa yaarkittayavadhu solli konjam ulla, can you please request and get some officer, some bank manager, somebody to, you won't really think there about your status. I am this. Whatever works. Doesn't mean that you have to, keep running this way. That's not the point. The point is that all of these, look at it as though, how can this help me in my spiritual journey? Because that intention has to be established. I establish my intention of my spiritual growth, my inner understanding, my development as the mumukshatvam as the primary purushartha, establish that, then every little thing you will see in your life, your husband, your wife, your children, your mami or your maman or your dog, your cat, everything, your office employer, your employee, every interaction, every transaction you will see. Be selfish in this. We have to be selfish. In the Adhyatma Marga, we have to be selfish because it is eventually a selfless act. Like Ramana Maharshi says, self-realization is the greatest selfless act. Because நம்ம ஒழுங்கா இருந்தா தானே we can be proper in the world. We have to fix ourselves. We have to set ourselves right. We have to make sure that we are completely established. Which is why Rama was so beautiful, because Rama did this when he was very young. He came to this establishment within himself. He's spoken about the Adhyatma Ramayana, which is Yoga Vasishtha. So he goes through his phase and he comes to a certain complete understanding and realization, and then he lives his life. Enna vandalum paravalla appadina. Anything may come, it doesn't matter. So like that, if our purushartha of mokshatvam is so dridha nischaya, means firm determination we make, then we use all of these energies that are available around us in that direction. The problem comes when we seek out to these energies for a kamya prapti. For my kamya prapti, if I keep seeking out, then you're getting locked in karma, the cycles. See, it is okay to go to, when I'm really sick or somebody is really sick in the house, you go and pray to Dhanvantari, or you pray to some devata, or you go, some problems you have, you pray to the Kula Devas and all that. That's all absolutely beautiful. Because why? You want to get better. For what? So that I can pursue my sadhana, so that I can spend more time in antardhyana, introspection, and my nididhyasana. So that I can do this, I am okay to do. This has to be very clear. Even if I am seeking money, Even if I'm doing an archana to Kubera saying, give me wealth. If I'm seeking, why? Not because I want to build an empire, I want to establish this thing and grow business and this, that, and the other. No. So that I don't keep thinking about my day-to-day needs. So that the need for my day-to-day needs are taken care. Give me as much that is required to take care of my day-to-day needs so that I can focus, so that I can do my dhyana. This is important. This is important in our pursuit. So Brahmadi Suravara Samaharshayaste Santas Sanandana Mukhatu Atha Mukhastvatha. And so some places it is Mukhastvatha, some places Mukhastvatha. So I think Mukhaha tu Atha, which means the Mukha means it is the chief. Mukhya அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இதுல in Hindi. Mukhya means a chief. So like this, Santa Sanandana. So there are great sages and eminent sages or chief sages like Sanandana. So Sanandana, Sanata, Sanata, Sanandana, Sanata Sujatiya, and there are 4 Sanat Kumaras. There are 4 Sanat Kumaras who are known to be the Manasa Putra of Brahma. So great sages like them, Yogi Varyaha. Right? So what he says here, Santas Sanandana Mukhastvatha Yogi Varyaha. Such Yogi Varya means the greatest of yogis, excellent or the eminent yogis. Such yogis are also lined up here. So look at how he is bringing every possible devotee into this space. Dhamantike tavahi mangala vastu hastaha, which means they are waiting antike in your dhama, in your abode. They are waiting in your presence. Tavahi mangala vastu hastaha, in their hands they are holding on to mangala vastukal, all very beautiful auspicious things they are holding in their hands. Sri Venkateswara Suprabhatam. So who are these people? Brahmadi, Suravaraha, Maharshi, all the Santa like Sanandana, Sanata, Sant Kumara, etc. Yogi Varyaha, yogis. So all forms of eminent beings and all forms of positive devotees. Again, as we said, now what has happened is there is a satsanga created in the presence of the Lord. See, this is also interesting because whenever we invoke a particular form of the Lord, maybe Krishna or Narayana or Vishnu or Shiva or Devi or Ganesha, the moment that particular form is invoked, there is natural satsanga that happens, which is what he's saying. Anga Tirupati Balaji, just by his presence, there is satsanga. Because all sattva guna people are all coming and forming a sangha. Why? They are getting attracted to him. And by means of coming, similar people, similar minded, similar energies that resonate together get drawn. And they come there and they're standing there and they're standing there with all auspicious items in their hands. Dhama Antike. Now they've entered into your abode. Beddukitte vanduta. They've come near your bedside. Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. May you get up now at least. Lakshmi Nivasi Niravidya Gunaika Sindho Ram Samsara Sagara Samuttaranika Seto Vedanta Vedya Nija Vaibhava Bhakta Bhogya Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. Itham Vrishachalapate. How much time? We have about 12 minutes to go. I was thinking I maybe will not be able to finish these 2 verses. Because this is Vedanta Vedya Nija Vaibhava Bhakta Bhogya. Lakshmi Nivasi Niravatya Gunaika Sindho Rama Niravatya Gunaika Sindho Samsara Sagar. So what we'll do, maybe we'll take these 2 verses next week and we'll close out next week. But I think we will. So this is we'll pause at 27, but we've got another 10 minutes to go. Maybe there is something else if there's something that anybody wants to share or talk about. Well, what will happen is if I start this, I'm sensing that I may not be able to finish it off and it'll extend, and I don't want to rush it. Let's spend time closing it out properly next week. Is there anything else that anybody wants to share? Maybe 10 minutes, Chuma, we can 5-10 minutes we can chat about any questions or anything. Chandra Mama, is there any interesting experiences that you had, any temple visits that you went to? Yesterday, சொல்லுங்க மாமா.
இல்ல இது இந்த திருப்பதிக்கு போகும்போது நாங்க வந்து நடந்து போனோம்னு சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டு இருந்தோம். அப்போ யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்லாம் அப்போ பெரியவாலாம் ரொம்ப சத்தம் போட்டு இருந்தா இது மாதிரிலாம் எல்லாரும் ஒன்னா போக வேண்டியதானே அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு அப்புறம் அதே மாதிரி தென் somehow we insisted that we will go by walk only and we went to the hill. அப்புறம் 2 பேரும் ஜாயின் பண்ணோம். பட் we could not get the darshan. அப்பெல்லாம் வந்து ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். அந்த இது வந்து ஒரு 30 years back ஆயிருக்கு, 35 years back. அப்பெல்லாம் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் இந்த தரிசனம் கிடைக்கிறதெல்லாம். ரொம்ப we used to stand in the queue for 18 hours. Then we could not get. Again we came back from the queue. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்னாச்சு, ஒரு next day we were told there are no buses even to go out because bus strike வந்துருது. ஸோ அப்போ சரி மறுபடியும் போய் பார்க்கலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு then we tried and we were able to get the darshan immediately and we got the darshan. And while coming down பஸ் கிடையாது, அதனால யார் வேணான்னு சொன்னாலும் எல்லாருமே நடந்து வந்தோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்க once we reached the down then buses started flowing. This is one experience I'm sharing just.
Very nice, very nice. This is at Tirupati. I'm sure everybody has some interesting experience of Tirupati. Gayatri, you raised my hand, ma.
ஒரு क्वेश्चन கேட்கணும், கேட்கலாமான்னு தெரியல. தப்பா இருந்தா இல்லைன்னா ரொம்ப சில்லியா இருந்தா மன்னிச்சுக்கோங்க.
ஒரு டிஸ்க்ளைமரோட தான் காயத்ரி எப்பவுமே டிஸ்க்ளைமரோட கேள்வி கேட்பா.
டிஸ்க்ளைமர் எப்போது ஆட் பண்ணிக்கிறது பெட்டர். ஏன்னா மோஸ்ட்லி ஐ அம் ஆஸ்கிங் சில்லி क्वेश्चंस.
இல்ல
அதனால ஆக்சுவலி என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட் ஒரு क्वेश्चन கேட்டா,
if you have heard of this, there are no silly questions அப்படிமா, there are only silly answers. சோ நான் வந்து ஆன்சர் ஒழுங்கா கொடுக்கலன்னா அது சில்லி ஆன்சர் அவ்வளவுதான்.
நீங்க குடுக்குற ஆன்சர புரிஞ்சுக்கிற ஞானத்த பகவான் குடுக்கணும் அவ்வளவுதான்.
சொல்லுமா.
என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட் ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டா. என்னன்னா, நம்ம பாராயணம் பண்றோம், நெறைய படிக்கிறோம், கத்துக்கிறோம், எல்லாம் சரி. ஆனா கரெக்ட்டான வழியில தான் போறோமான்னு எப்படி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது அப்டின்னா? நான் சொன்னேன், இதுக்கு பகவான் வந்து நேராவா சொல்லுவான்னு. இல்ல, எல்லாம் செஞ்சுட்டே இருக்கோம். சரி கரெக்ட்டா தான் பண்றோமா? சரியா தான் பண்றோமா? எங்கேயாவது தப்பா பண்ணோம்னா எப்படி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது? எனக்கு வந்து மோட்சம் அடையணும். நான் இப்பவே முக்தி அடைஞ்சிரணும். ஆனா எனக்கு என்ன செய்யணும்னு தெரியல. எனக்கு அடுத்த ஜென்மா பொறக்கவே வேண்டாம். நான் என்ன செய்யணும்னு எனக்கு தெரியல அப்படிங்கிறேன். இது வந்து ஒரு 4 வருஷமா எனக்கு அவள தெரியும். 4 வருஷத்துல ஒரு 40 தடவ இந்த கொஸ்டின கேட்டிருப்பா. நானும் ஒவ்வொரு தடவ எனக்கு எனக்கு தெரியலன்னு எஸ்கேப் ஆயிரலாம். இந்த வாட்டி ரொம்ப ஒரு 2, 3 நாள் தொடர்ந்து கேட்டுட்டே இருந்தாளா, சோ இன்னைக்கு நீங்க சொன்ன உடனே எனக்கு கேட்டுறலான்னு தோணிச்சு.
4 வருஷமா மோட்சம் தேடின்னு இருக்காளா அவ?
இல்ல, 4 வருஷமா என்ன தெரிஞ்சதுனால என்கிட்ட கேட்கிறா. இதுக்கு முன்னாடி யார கேட்கன்னு தெரியல. அதனால கேட்கல. சோ அதுக்கு இந்த 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 கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு. இப்ப நான் வந்து
Yeah, so is this
அம்
your question? Is this your question, Gayatri?
நோ, நோ, நோ. தட்ஸ் நாட் மை கொஸ்டின்.
Then what is your so
My doubt, I don't know what to even say because I never had that thought. So when she asked this, that intrigues me.
oh,
அடுத்த ஜென்மம் வேண்டாம். எனக்கு முக்தி வேணும், மோட்சம் வேணும். ஆனா எனக்கு என்ன செய்யணும்னு தெரியல. எல்லாம் பாராயணம் பண்றேன். ஸ்ரீவித்யா தீட்சை வாங்கியிருக்கா போன வருஷம். நல்ல நெறைய பாராயணம் பண்ணுவா. ஆனா இதெல்லாம் காணுமா? நான் என்னதான் பண்றது? எனக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும்னே தெரியல. நெறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். எனக்கு டைம் காணாது. எனக்கு சீக்கிரமா முக்தி அடைஞ்சிடணும். எனக்கு அடுத்த ஜென்மம் வேணாம். இது சோ வென் சம்படி கீப் சேயிங் திஸ், சோ இது இது ஒரு ஒரு பெர்சன். தேர் இஸ் சம் பெர்சன் ஹூ இஸ் என் பையன வந்து அப்படி சாதனையாளர் ஆக்கணும்னு ஒரு பக்கம் இன்னொரு பெர்சன் ஓடுறா. வேற எனக்கு 2 எக்ஸ்ட்ரீமிட்டீஸ் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். இதுல எனக்கு என்னன்னா, இதுவும் சரி, அதுவும் சரி ஓகே. பட் வாட் ஆம் ஐ டூயிங் ரியலி? இவாளும் இப்படி கேட்கிறா. நமக்கு இந்த மாதிரி எதுவுமே தோணல. சோ ஐ அம் கன்ஃப்யூஸ்ட். அதிகமா சொன்னா ஐ அம் கன்ஃப்யூஸ்ட். என்னடா இது? இந்த பக்கம் இவாள பார்த்தா என் பையன அப்படி ஒரு சாம்பியன் ஆக்கணும், என் பொண்ண வந்து டான்ஸ்ல சூப்பரா ஆக்கணும்னு இப்படி ஒரு 2 பேர். இந்த பக்கம் எனக்கு முக்தி வேணும்னு ஒருத்தர் இருக்கா. இவ 2 பேரும் என்கிட்ட வந்து அவளோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ சொல்லும்போது எனக்கு எதுவுமே தோணல. நான் எதுவுமே செய்யல. அப்போ என்னதான் நான் am I doing the right thing? Everybody has a search. I don't have a search. So that is what is confusing me. இத எப்படி
Gayatri is
எடுத்துக்கணும்னு
going
தெரியல.
with the flow, I
So I
think.
wanted to say.
ஏய் நீ உங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் முதல்ல சேஞ்ச் பண்ணு. உன்னை கன்ஃபியூஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸை வச்சுட்டு இருக்கு நீ பக்கத்துல.
அங்க இன்னொன்னு என் ஸ்கூல் ஃப்ரெண்டு, இன்னொன்னு என்னுடைய இப்போ ஒரு 4 இயர்ஸா உள்ள ஃப்ரெண்டு. So they are all like stuck to me.
That was a joke, but இல்ல actually என்னன்னா, a lot of times when a question appears on the outside and it triggers a process inside, it means it's resonating. See, இப்போ மேல வந்து நீ ஒரு if you just ஒரு crude example, if you're walking out and நடந்துட்டு இருக்கறச்சு, if you're wearing ஒரு விண்ட் ஷீட்டர் போட்டுட்டு இருக்க, மழை பெய்யுதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, தண்ணி மேல படவே படாது. ஸோ இட் நாட் மேட்டர். பரவாயில்ல, மழை பெஞ்சா தண்ணி அடிச்சா என்ன, விண்ட் ஷீட்டர் எடுத்து அப்படியே உதறிட்டு வளர்த்திடலாம், காஞ்சிரும். உன் மேல தண்ணி படலை. But if you're not wearing anything, every drop of water that falls on you is going to make you wet and it's going to bother you. Yes. So if a question is coming from the outside and if it bothers you, that means there is some resonance inside.
Okay.
Resonance now, I'm saying it may have come from the outside, but it's probably a question that is bothering you from the inside also. It is just that it has not found expression. And somebody on the outside is giving expression to it. Illena, so it's like that. Otherwise, if the question wouldn't bother you, for example, somebody is coming and asking you, telling you, "Innama stock market vandu ippadi idva irukku, I'm so worried now." Will you worry about it?
No. Because I have no connection to stock market. Yes.
Because you're not associated with that. You're not invested in, invested in terms of your energies, your thinking, all of that into the stock market. You're not. It won't bother you. But then in this space, you're very invested and you are processing, you are thinking, you are doing your sadhana, etc. And somebody is asking a question which triggers a question inside you, which means there is some resonance. Although you may not be thinking of that question, that somebody on the outside has actually triggered that question inside you. So keep the person aside, which is why I was asked, Gayatri, is this your question? Because in the way to respond to somebody is a second thing. But has this question bothered you is the first point that you need to look at. If the question has bothered you, then it is your question.
Okay.
If the question bothers you, it is your question. It doesn't matter who asked it. You could have read it somewhere. You would have Padila sometimes either YouTube video you would have found this question, and then after that, before the answer comes, the YouTube video would have crashed. So the question will be in your head. Now the video I didn't know that question, but now it's become a question. Does the question bother you? And if it does, then it is your question, and only then it is worth investigating. See, unless something is not your question, don't bother investigating into it. Because you're trying to help somebody so that you can give them some solace, some direction, some respite with what they're struggling with. But that will come from a place where that question within you is not a question. See, a lot of times, this is what I say, when it's not a question within you, then probably the answer that comes out may be an appropriate answer. Understand? It's a very it's a subtle thing that I'm saying. When the question that is coming towards you is not your burning question, then the answer that comes out from that space from within you could be an appropriate answer for that person, because you are the quest. It's not your question. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're don't try to answer that. You try to look at within to say that, okay, so now all of this is fine. Now you figured out that this is your question. Now the point here is, you're saying, where am I heading towards, is not determined by the amount of time that you're investing. Like my guru would say, the measure of spiritual progress is peace and joy in your heart. Now forget moksha, because these are words you've heard from people, from scriptures, from somebody saying, now today I spoke moksha, mumukshutvam, and all of that big words that I said. Forget all that for a moment. Nobody tells you this. Assuming you don't know these words at all. You don't know there is some moksha, there is some liberation. You are in a place where you don't have any idea about these things. What would you want? You would want a life of no conflict. You would want a life of joy, because you like to be in a place of joy. All of us, naturally, we like to be in a place of joy. We want, and conflict, we want to kind of release ourselves from conflict as quickly as possible. When we are angry, we want to come down to a non-angry state as quickly as possible. When we become agitated, we want to come down to a non-agitated state as quickly as possible. Why? Even in science, you see the electrons that move from, those who know science, from after the nucleus, there are shells, K shell, L shell, M shell, shells, where the electron as a cloud kind of moves. And when electrons jump one shell to the other and they come back, they release the energy. And that energy comes out as electrical, mechanical, whatever energy, the energy that is let out, or light energy or whatever. Now, why do they come back to their original shell?
The most stable state.
That is a stable state. So anything that keeps you in your stable state of peace, of no conflict, of some kind of joy or happiness, tripti, contentment. Idu porume. This is a measure of what you do. If this is being on a daily basis, you find a little bit more joy, a little bit more happiness, a little bit you're getting less agitated, you're in a little bit you're getting lesser angry, little bit you're becoming less reactive and more responsive. Little by little you see some of these things in you. This is all it is. And one day suddenly moksha, liberation will just be, see, it is not, it's not that you do 253 things and then the 254th thing is moksha. Apdi kadayadu. Moksha is not the 254th thing that you do. Moksha, understand, is a gradual blossoming of the inner self. Gradual blossoming. When it blossoms, it will not be in a zero state and suddenly chik apdi vandiradu. It will blossom slowly. Although we don't witness the process of blossoming, blossoming happens gradually. So realization, understanding, even that moksha that we are talking about will happen gradually. So all we need to focus is in the next step. What happens is we look at this destination, which is a glorified destination in the scriptures. Gurus talk about it, everybody talk about it. Moksha is the greatest purushartha. அதை தேடிட்டு போகணும், மோட்சம் கிடைச்சதுன்னா திரும்ப பிறக்க மாட்டேன், இப்படி எல்லாம் ஏதோ கேட்டிருக்கோம் நம்ம. And it's confused what is our next immediate step. Next immediate step you look for is this. Am I getting a little better? போன வருஷத்துக்கு compare ஒண்ணுல, I mean, I'm saying, if you see this friend as somebody you can have a conversation with, then you have this conversation and you also introspect. You say that, okay, from the last year, you've done Lalita Sahasranam padicha, inda parayanam panna, idellam pannenu sonna. From the last year, do you see anything positive that has happened inside you? இப்போ இந்த சத்சங்கலாம் வந்துட்டு இருக்க, we are all doing this from the last year, the last 6 months, the last 1 month. Have I seen any change in me that has made me a little better? Or has it made me worse? Or is it putting me, if it is making you worse, then it's something to think about. Then you ask the question, am I doing the right thing or wrong thing? The question, am I doing the right thing or wrong thing, you're measuring with moksha, which is appearing like a far dream. கரெக்டா? ஏதோ மேல வந்து இதுக்கு மேல வீட்டுல வந்து இட் இஸ் 11 feet ஹவுஸ், மேல கை கூட எட்டாத இடத்துல ஒரு போட்டோ மாட்டி விட்டுட்டு எனக்கு அதை ரீச் பண்ணணுங்கிற மாதிரி. And you say, what am I doing? நான் இந்த படிக்கட்டு கொண்டு வரட்டுமா, அது கொண்டு வரட்டுமா, do I get this ladder, how do I go up? You're getting, but that's not the point. It's not like that. I'm saying visually, why did I say you're putting something up there? Moksha is not like that. It is not something out there, something big that you're having to achieve. It is the gradual blossoming of the consciousness within us. So from last year, we just do this retrospection that from last year compared to last year, this year, even though it is Krodhi Varsham, Krodhi Varsham gives you the license to be angry. Despite that, am I getting any better? Am I getting a little introspective? Am I getting in a place where I'm becoming more conscious? Just becoming more conscious of what I'm doing, more aware of what I'm doing. This is the measure. Now that doesn't mean the intensity for moksha should drop. Don't get me wrong. Mumukshutvam as an intention, as an intensity should be there. Intense irukano adu. Anal it should not bring despair. Because your measuring scale is wrong. நான் வந்து ஒரு ஃபுட் ரூலர் எடுத்து I am going to measure this whole துபாயில இருக்க லேண்டை ஃபுல்லா நான் மெஷர் பண்ண போறேன் ஃபுட் ரூலரை வச்சுட்டு அப்படின்னா it will feel like a daunting task. நீங்க கூகுள்ல போய் ஒரு சர்ச் பண்ணேன் துபாய் லேண்ட் ஏரியா என்னன்னு, டக்குன்னு கிடைச்சிட போறது. So I'm saying you're using the wrong method to measure it. If at all you want to measure, again, I'm saying what my guru says, if you at all you want to measure, you think that you're wanting to measure yourself if you are in the right direction, this should happen. If this does not happen, like I remember what there's a statement by Gandhi, because for Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi, God is not truth. Truth was God. He said truth is God. And so he said, if you're saying that God or the ultimate is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, it is Satyam, then how can you live a life of lies? வாழ்க்கை பூரா நான் வந்து பொய் சொல்லிண்டு கதை இது பண்ணிண்டு சீட் பண்ணிண்டு I keep doing all kinds of these things, but then I will say that I am wanting to attain moksha, which is the ultimate truth. That will not work. There's conflict. So understand this. If there is suffering, a lot of times I'll tell you why people want that moksha and not to be born again is because they are tired of suffering now. Right now their life is not joyful. Right now they are not finding peace and joy. It's a conflicted life, which is why they're looking for a dream elsewhere, which seems like moksha is the dream and something will suddenly happen. You do things, yes, with the intensity of moksha, but then you also live joyfully, because again, as I have told many times, moksha is not like a jump over. It's not a sudden jump over. நேத்திக்கு படுத்தும் தூங்கினேன், இவ்வளோ நான் ஒரு 10 வருஷமா நல்லா பண்ணேன், இன்னைக்கு படுத்து தூங்கினேன், கார்த்தால எழுந்த உடனே மோட்சம் வந்துடுதுப்பா எனக்குங்கிறது கிடையாது. It will never happen that way. Within us, within the individual, the shift that happens will be a very, very interesting shift, but it will not suddenly bring you to an extraordinary place. It will bring you to a very ordinary place. Moksha actually is not extraordinary. It is very ordinary. You will see things that are ordinary in an extraordinary way. You will see it that way, but everything will just be ordinary. இப்படிதானே வாழ்க்கை, இதுதானே. மான்கள்லாம் போய் பார்த்தெல்லாம் பேசறச்சே, when you listen to them talk, they will not ஓஹோலாம் பண்ண மாட்டா. This is what it is. இப்படிதான்ப்பா வாழ்க்கைன்னா, இப்படிதான். கஷ்டங்கள் இருக்கதான் செய்யும், துக்கங்கள் இருக்கதான் செய்யும். You will have suffering, you will have this, you will have that. If you have relationships, you will have troubles. You listen to them speak, they will just say that this is the way it is. This is the way of life. Right? So have that intensity of moksha. Don't drop that, but let it not become despair. Let it not become a cause for despair. Because change the measuring scale. Measure is not towards that. The measure should be on a daily basis. Am I getting better? Because even if, suppose there is somebody saying moksha, na ipa kudukka poren, moksha ishyami ma shuchaha nu Krishna sonna madri kudutarna kuda, we will not be in a position to receive it, because our tendencies and our vasanas and desires are so much that it will not allow for moksha. It will not allow for moksha. Moksha Kali illa Dakshina Kali nu or Kali iruka, which is Vama Kali. The Vama Kali is the more severe one. She can give moksha, which means she will cut you. She will make you stand in front of, I'm saying life instances அப்படி நடக்கும். She'll put you in a situation very humiliating, very this thing அப்படிலாம் போட்டு ஒரு மாதிரி situationல போட்டா, will you be able to face it? She'll show you the most ugly thing, the most gory thing. It's all part of creation. Will you be able to face it? She'll give you the biggest heartbreak. Will you be able to take it? I'm not ready, illa. When I'm not ready, moksha, this is preparation. The shuddhi nadakum. Shuddhi karana is what is happening now. And as shuddhi karana happens, through all the sadhana that you do, your measure should be, am I feeling better? Am I getting better? Am I finding little more joy, little more peace, little less conflict, little more independent, little less connected and entangled? Panna. I'm sorry, I gave you a long answer, but I think it is a satsang deserving question.
இல்ல கரெக்ட்.
நல்லா இருந்தது.
தயானந்த சுவாமி தயானந்த சரஸ்வதி கூட சொல்லுவாரு, மோக்ஷம் இஸ் நாட் எக்ஸ்டர்னல், இட் இஸ் வித்இன் யூ. ஒன்லி there is no exam like okay நீ 90% 95% வாங்கிட்டே அவனுக்கு மோட்சம் கிடைச்சது, அப்படி கிடையாது. The moment it is you are your own judge, you are your own questioner. Question set பண்றது நீ தான் ஆன்சர் பண்ண போற, நீ தான் ஜட்ஜ் பண்ண போறது. Whether you got the moksham or not, it is up to you, and it's not some distant destination outside. It is all within you.
Correct.
You have to realization the moksha actually. The moment whatever we study, என்னெல்லாம் நம்ம ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சாஸ்திரம் படிக்கிறத வந்து நம்ம வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவலைஸ், அதாவது இன்டர்னலைஸ் பண்ணி இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணதான் நம்ம வில் ஃபைண்ட் அவர் செல்ஸ் தட் வி ஆர் மூவிங் டுவர்ட்ஸ் மோக்ஷம். அந்த பாத் ஃபோக்கஸ் ஆன் த பாத், it will the destination will slowly come and reaches. அவ்வளவுதான். We don't need to go towards the moksham. The moksham will, இல்லையா, it will just like நீங்க சொல்ற மாதிரி
it will just flower up.
வெள்ளரிக்காய், நம்ம அந்த வெள்ளரிக்காய் எப்படி அதுவா அந்த செடியை விட்டு விலகிறதோ, அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் விலகினால் தன்னால you find you will feel that you are realized. அந்த ரியலைசேஷன் தான் மோட்சம், இல்லையா? அதான் நம்ம பாதி நேரம் வந்து நம்ம வந்து எனக்குலாம் முன்னாடி எல்லாம் நான் மோட்சம்னா சம்திங் ஆஃப்டர் டெத் நினைச்சிருந்தோம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் திங் இஸ் we really do not understand what is really மோட்சம் இஸ், இல்லையா?
Absolutely. இது அழகா ஒண்ணு சொன்னேன் நீங்க, அந்த குக்கும்பர் திரையம்பகம் யஜாமஹே சுகந்திம் புஷ்டி வர்தனம் உர்வாருகமிவ பந்தனம்.
அதேதான்.
How does, as though the cucumber falls off bandhanat, from the bandhana, mrityor mukshiya mam amritat. So take me from mortality to immortality, towards moksha. So and then how does the cucumber drop off? By ripening of the cucumber. Nobody is coming and plucking it. Before the cucumber ripens, you pluck it. It is accident.
Correct.
It is not a natural occurrence. It will ripen. தானா வரும். That is beautiful, Mama. Very nice.
அதான் the mind watch இருக்கு இல்லையா, that is very important. Keep watching the mind, and if anything external is trying to bother the mind, cut it off. Insulate yourself. that really gives us happiness. என்னதான் நடக்கட்டுமே தான். மைண்ட் வந்து நான் இது நிஜமா இது பிராக்டிக்கலா பாத்துருக்கேன் குருஜி. Anything that comes to bother the mind, I'll tell my mind, forget it. I am insulated. I will not allow my mind to get bothered by anything external. அவ்வளவுதான். That ends the matter and we feel happy.
Correct. The maximum chatter is happening inside. Very beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you. Wonderful, lovely. Thank you so much. I think
Hari Om Guruji. Hari Om.
இது மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் impromptu or something we should once in a while try to do satsanga.
இதெல்லாம் தான் அந்த நிதித்தியாசம் வந்து this will give us more insight.
And that impetus to go. Very nice. Super. Om kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite subhava करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि, सदाशिवायेति समर्पयामि, जगदम्बिकायै इति समर्पयामि, सद्गुरुनाथायेति समर्पयामि. हरि ओम तत्सत्. हरि ओम. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.